Hello, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day so far. We are alive and well. So, today, what we're going to talk about, I'll put the topic here on the screen, is we are going to be discussing the best real estate markets for winter of 2024. Okay. So, I'm going to talk to you guys just about where I am going to be focusing my marketing efforts, why, and then if we have time, we'll get into list pools. Like the list I'll target. We'll go on Redfin. We'll look at market research. Yeah, a lot of fun stuff here. So let me go ahead and share this with you all. And what I'm going to do is wait for some people to join. And then I'm going to post this in my usual spot. So if you guys have been with me for a while, you guys already know what I need to do. And I need to go on Facebook. Make sure this is posted on Facebook. Make sure the audio check's good. And then we'll go ahead and get into it. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them because we do Q&As as well on here. So Q&As, I'll take time throughout the presentation and I'll just answer questions that you guys have. So if you guys have any real estate related questions, marketing related, wholesaling questions, novations, we're doing a lot of those recently. Finding buyers, anything like that when it comes to really investing and moving properties outside of flipping them and closing on rentals. Guys, I am your guy. So drop your questions and also let me know where you guys are not streaming from, but watching from. Okay. I'm going to make sure this is posted in the necessary areas. One moment. So my topic is actually incorrect on YouTube. Let me change this because we're not covering the best behind the scenes of our lead generation machine. I don't know why it did that. One second, guys. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, let's see if it changed this. Okay, cool. All right, change it. Let me just make sure my audio is good and on YouTube, and we'll go ahead and get in it. Let's go ahead and start rolling in here. So what we're going to be talking about today, guys, are just the best markets to be in when it comes to real estate in the winter. Why are we talking about this right now? Because you guys are like, well, it's fall. Well, honestly, guys, we need to discuss these markets because that's going to be right around the corner. We prepare for fall in the springtime, and we prepare for the winter in the fall time. So we don't want to get caught without any leads, guys, or without any deals. So I want to make sure that you guys are covered on that And so what I'm going to be discussing today is just, well, write a couple notes down and let's go ahead and get into it. If anybody's watching replay, welcome. So glad that you guys are watching. If you're catching it live, thank you as well. Grateful for everybody who watches these lives. Okay. So why am I discussing this topic? Well, one of my acquisitions managers actually asked me, he was like, hey, he said, we should focus on expanding in some other markets because our lead flow was light in one of our main markets in the Midwest. And he said, hey, you know, when it comes down to it, we want to make sure that we're actually targeting areas that our buyers are going to be in for wintertime. And, you know, I haven't really given this much thought recently, but he makes a good point. Where our buyers are is going to be where we're going to be located, guys. So we want to make sure that we're located in areas where we actually have cash buyers and they're actually flipping. So think, guys, and this is going to be an extreme example, Alaska. You know, if we're in Alaska, do you think that we're going to have buyers that are going to be bending over backward in the wintertime to flip homes? No. So if it's snowing up north in the wintertime, sometimes it starts snowing early in the year, guys, we might be in a situation where we might not have any buyers. And so some people also say, well, and I get asked this every single year. I've been doing this for a decade. So for 9 years, I get asked this question every single fall/winter. What do you guys think it is? I'll go ahead and tell you. Should I slow down my marketing? Guys, I get asked this so many times. Should I slow down my marketing in the winter? And this won't really be an issue if you, number one, have a business that's actually where you're planning ahead strategically, for one. For two, you have a team working for you. And for three, you're in areas where you're not really going to see that dip and you actually might see an incline. So any of my Florida investors out there, right? I think Florida markets are good. And we'll discuss some of these. Also, Georgia markets are good. Some Georgia markets. I like title states. And GA is an attorney state for closings. So let's talk about southern states. Now, I'm from South Carolina. You know, South Carolina, North Carolina, there's a handful of markets that are good here. But I would say for the most part, I'm not targeting them. They're just the MSAs. The markets aren't that big to be there long term. And getting data is a little bit difficult too, especially niche data in these markets. So let's talk about Georgia, Alabama. So specifically Jefferson County. That's where Birmingham is. I believe that's correct. I like Texas. So anything in San Antonio. Houston, hit or miss. And San Antonio, Houston are solid markets. Austin is okay, but Austin is a little bit affluent. Could work for Novations. Okay. So these are some of the markets that I would consider going to, some of the like states. And when I talk about the markets, I'm talking about an MSA. So I don't consider a whole state a market. I'm just saying some of the areas we would target. So we want to be in areas where the snow does not affect our buyers' flipping strategy. So put yourself in the buyer's shoes. Put yourself in the buyer's shoes. So we don't want to go to an area where our buyers are essentially, they have trouble getting contractors out to the home. They have trouble getting homeowners out there. Think about how many people are moving in the wintertime to Ohio or Kansas, But alternatively, some of the southern markets will either stay stable as far as homes sold and the days on market, or they'll see a boom. And I would say more of the Florida markets will increase in their sales or not see a dip, which is really important. So one thing that I teach guys is that we as investors should always have multiple markets that we're in. Okay. We should always have multiple markets that we're in. I got a comment here, guys. I love your comments. For some reason, it's not showing up here on my streaming platform. So let's see here. Where is this? Okay, cool. Gabriel Quetzalcoatl said, awesome. Great. Join the stream, great, Gabriel. If you're watching, let us know where you're watching from. Okay. But some of these markets, guys, are not worth being in. Again, they're not worth being in any time of the year, but I would say Florida is probably a good one. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Which ones would I consider in Florida? Tampa. Guys, I've closed several deals in Tampa. Going back to 2018, that's when I closed my first deal in Tampa. And so this market experienced a really sharp rise in the property values, but I think they're stabilizing now. Of course, property values were increasing. Those interest rates were really low. It was a buying frenzy for like the last, I won't say last 2 years, more like 2021 to 2022-ish. And so last year people were saying, oh, there's going to be a recession. I never thought that was going to happen. I never thought that the housing market was going to collapse. Only thing that I thought was going to happen where the property values were going to go back to pre-pandemic levels, or 2020, 2019 levels. I didn't think ever that any of these markets were going to decrease in the pre-pandemic property values, at least the bigger markets. The rural markets, I can't really say anything about those, but your MSAs, million plus population, even 500K plus population, I never thought that. So based off of the stats that I have, there was a 20% bump in most of these markets as far as the property values from 2021 to 2023. And then we started seeing them decrease, I would say, in 2023. And then now they're at whatever price they're at is the realistic price of what these homes are worth. So hopefully not too many people lost equity when the market adjusted. But again, I think if people did buy during that time, the thing that they're dealing with are more of like high interest rates now. But it's not like one of those things where they're paying twice as much on their mortgage than their next door neighbor who bought a house this year or last year. Hopefully not, unless they got screwed by their bank. So Tampa, closed my first deal there in 2018. Let's do a deep dive as to why this is a good market. And again, guys, any investor, and I'll just say this, any investor who wants to close 3 to 5 deals plus deals a month needs multiple markets they're in. Or I would say, big guys, or you're doing cluster marketing. A lot of different marketing strategies in one market, meaning we call it cluster marketing. So you're hitting them with direct mail, bandit signs, door knocking, texting, cold calling. You have multiple exit strategies. too. Novations, listing, referrals to realtors, lots of buyers. So you can make it work in one market, but a lot of investors I know are great at acquisitions, and they just do like a lot of marketing. So if that's the case, you want to make sure that your MSA is large enough to sustain 3 to 5 plus deals. But if you are, you have to make sure you have enough data to target that market just year round, without pulling duplicate data. And that's where a lot of people get tripped up on, because they don't keep track of their data and they pull the same data over and over again. They upload in their dialer or they text it, and then they wonder why they're not getting any responses back when that list performed really well in the first month. Well, they may have pulled the same data, like 50% of the same data 3 months later, and they haven't kept track of that. So you might as well have only pulled half of the data that you pulled initially in the first list pull. So just something to keep in mind, guys. But for me, I like being in most markets. Even if you have enough lead gen going on to get 3 to 5 deals a month, I would suggest to be in an area outside of your region. So if you are living and you're targeting the Southeast, let's just say you're in Tampa. Well, why not pick up a Midwest market? Columbus, Cleveland, right? Kansas City, Little Rock, Arkansas. I like those markets. Those are very solid markets just for wholesaling right now. If you're in if you're in Columbus, Ohio, you might want to target. I think this is more relevant for you guys right now, is you might want to start looking at Florida. And I know most people that have been wholesaling for a minute and investing. Even if you haven't, guys, I would really get comfortable with virtually wholesaling, even in your own backyard, like trying to do as much as possible virtually, except for your appointments. I think if you're going to the appointments and that's like your X factor, go on your appointments. But when it comes to title, closing deals and things like that, you don't have to go to the title company. You don't have to go to the freaking every single closing. Try to get used to outsourcing that stuff to a team, or having, your attorney handle that stuff when you're absent. So you're not taking away your time from doing $1,000, $2,000 to $3,000 hour task to do an admin task worth $20 an hour. So just maximizing our time here. That's how I look at things. And whenever we set up these processes in our clients' businesses, this is exactly what we do. So I would consider some in Florida. Tampa, let's go ahead and look at the stats here in Redfin. First of all, let's look and see how many zip codes we have there. So Brandon, hey, great seeing you. I saw you were on the last live stream, my friend. Excuse me, guys. So Brandon asked, how is the Denver market? So we could actually look into that. Again, I wouldn't suggest going there in the wintertime, because it's probably going to start snowing. And so, diverting some of your attention there may not be the best, or your resources may not be the highest and best use of your marketing dollars or your time. But are you in that market right now? If so, let me know and we'll go ahead and we can analyze that on a call. Okay. Just let me know. Are you physically located in Denver? And while we're waiting for your answer to that, let's go ahead and pull up our zip code analysis sheet. And I have a sheet here with over, how many records on here? Probably 25,000 zips in the United States. And if you guys want this, you can, I give it away to you guys. I've been giving it away for years on CC Garland Marketing, not CC Garland Marketing, excuse me, buildtoscalerealestate.com. And I'll show you guys what that looks like. If I can pull it up. Okay, I have several versions of this sheet. How are you guys doing tonight? Chat's a little quiet. I did this last Thursday. I'm trying to figure out the best days to go live. I don't know if Thursday's the best day. Maybe I've done it on the weekends before. Wednesday might not be the best day. but you guys let me know. I do want to switch up the days just so I can catch people at different times of their schedule. Excuse me, different times where they may be working on one day, they could catch it on another day. Okay, guys, give me 1 second. Okay, I think this is a good one here. Okay, yeah. So Brandon was saying he's not physically located in Denver. Just curious. Now I'm curious why you're curious about Denver. Is there anything I'm missing? Is there anything I'm missing? And if you guys want the spreadsheet I'm about to show you, you could go here. And this is just a gift to you guys. And so this is actually my, let me open up my screen here. So this comes with a cold calling script. This comes with that you get your VA and an objection sheet with my top, I think 10 to 12, 11, excuse me, most common objections I get, and the zip code analysis sheet with 25,000 zip codes categorized by distress level. So you're going to get that without all this information I'm about to show you guys here on this sheet, because I like my sheet is pretty robust. So because I've analyzed so many markets on here. Okay, I'm gonna not share. I need to share my entire screen because this thing is okay. I want you guys to be able to see just a lot of my. Actually, I'm not going to share here. Oh, sweet. So you're so you travel there often. So what region are you in right now? Now I'm really curious. What region are you in, my friend? Are you? I guess you live. What state do you live in? All right, I don't want to get on a tangent here. Okay, guys. So we said Tampa, right? All right, cool. So this master sheet has all of the zips in the United States. It comes with instructions. So if you guys download this sheet, you'll get instructions. You're not going to get all the like my MSAs and stuff like that and all my research, but you are going to get the master sheet with instructions. So what I would do is go on, if you're analyzing any market, you want to go on Wikipedia. I usually just Google this stuff. And that's going to be Tampa MSA. So we need to look at all the data that we have for the entire market. When I say data, all the zip codes, okay? All the zip codes, but all the zip codes are on our sheet. So we just need to know the counties. So I'm going to walk you guys through this. I love going on Wikipedia. It always has the MSAs, the counties on here, usually about halfway down the page. And yep, in this like Excel looking format here. So we want to look at the MSA. We don't want to include the other counties. Usually these are rural anyway. And now if you physically live there, you can target these. But if you're going to just target an MSA, I would much rather just target the main areas. And this is where some people go wrong, guys, because they don't even know what counties are in their market, which is like crazy. So Hillsborough County, Pinellas, Pasco, and Hernando. Those are the 4 counties. I like targeting MSAs that have more than 1 million in population. Just in Hillsborough County, we have 1.5 million people. And then Pinellas, we have almost another 1 million people, 6, 7, 8. And then, close to 1 million with Pasco and Hernando. So I like seeing this because the more people that are there, the more housing units that we have. The more housing units that we have, the more data that we can pull. The more data that we can pull, the more data that we tip trace. The more data that we tip trace, the more unique records that we can pull in that market. And we're not going to be pulling duplicate data. So some people in smaller markets, this is why I was saying about cluster marketing and targeting your data from multiple different angles. We have to make sure that we are targeting these we have enough unique data that we're able to target with cold calling or texting, and we're not re-pulling the same records like month after month. So I may use the same criteria, and I'll go back to my spreadsheet here. I may use the same criteria, absentee, high equity, something like that, in most of the markets that I'm in. But I'm going to target separate zip codes because that helps me stay organized. So I don't need tools like REI Sift or anything like that to be able to keep track of my data, because I know I can keep the same criteria month after month after month after month. And I don't have to worry about pulling duplicate data if I'm just targeting different zips. So let me give you guys an example here. And I prepared this ahead of time. So I already have the Tampa zips here. And I remove all the criteria. We're going to start from scratch here. So if your population is over 1 million, you're more than likely going to have over like 75 to 100 zips. I like seeing over 100 zip codes. Again, guys, don't fall in love with the zips. I'm looking at this from a pure data standpoint. Okay. So a few things I do initially whenever I first start is I'm going to remove I'm going to look at the averages. So the average, and I updated this in 2023. I need to update this year. I only need to do this like once a year. So I need to get the sheet updated again. I'm going to go to Redfin and actually see what the market insights are for this area. For each county, rather. Well, let's do Pasco. All right, let me start with the most. Hillsborough is the most populous one. I can't search by county here. Okay, so 445. You know, that's roughly where we're at. It's a little bit high, guys, to be honest. It's a little bit high, but I think there's a few zips that are causing this to be top heavy. It's a little bit high. I usually like being in markets where it's around like 350 or so or lower, but there's still data to target here. And I'll show you guys just how I will put my list together here shortly. Actually, I'll get into that in a few minutes. So let me go back to my zip code sheet here. Thanks for the love, bro. Appreciate it, my guy. Appreciate it, Tip. So I'll work with this data here because not much. What changes over the years is really the data here, but the order of the zips doesn't really change. So I want to eliminate any zips that are really, really on the low end. I'm not seeing any zips that are below like 100,000. I don't want to be in 100,000 or below zips. Those are probably war zones. I don't want to be in zip codes where there's fewer than with this many zip codes. And this is just initially, guys, where there's fewer than 50 homes sold in the last 30 days. Again, this isn't super updated, but I'm just walking you guys through the exercise. If you guys want, and what I used to do is I used to go to Redfin and just enter in these zip codes one by one and update this information. I've updated this stuff manually so many times because I was really trying to extract the market insights from it myself and actually figure out what was statistically relevant on the sheet. Initially, this sheet was about 40 rows. And over time, I just narrowed it down to really a handful of columns. This data right here is from 2021. So really it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stats, 6 metrics rather that I analyze. Okay, cool. So I'm liking what I see. Again, guys, the more homes sold means the more cash buyers we're going to have. So if you're in a Midwest market or in a northern market and it starts snowing in fall or wintertime rather, and you're like, oh man, you know, there were 100 homes sold and 151 in this zip code 282, and you're in the middle of like Kansas or something like that, and it snows in the wintertime. Well, if you're looking at data from the summer, Well, you may think that you can target there and you're like, man, I have a lot of homes sold, but you're not taking into consideration your buyers may not be buying. Again, there's always going to be flipping activity. I'm just talking about the ease of closing deals up, and then also the ease of getting the properties and stuff like that. I just think it might be a good idea just to target some of these other markets. I'm not saying if you're physically located in an area up north or where it snows a lot to not target that area. But again, if things shut down due to snow days, or if it gets really really snowy there, my team, guys, you're shutting down up there, and you think people are going to want to be called during a blizzard? Just say things shut down for 2 weeks. That's why a lot of you guys ask me, well, should I stop marketing? If I'm marketing, if I live in, Chicago, and it's a really harsh winter there in 2024 and 2025 in January, February, March, but I'm targeting sunny Tampa, Florida, Miami. If I'm targeting not Tampa, Central Florida, like Orlando, Jacksonville, that's another solid market as well. I can still do business. I just have to make sure my Wi-Fi is up. So it's just something to keep in mind. We want to hedge our bets. Look at your business and your marketing, your real estate company, like a portfolio. Like if you were to invest in a hedge fund or invest in an index fund, rather, you're going to have a portfolio of blue chip stocks in that index fund. It's the same thing whenever we invest. So we want to be strategic about this, guys. And that's what you have me here for. And I love talking about these things. And I'm in a position now where I've been doing this for a while, 9 years, coming on 10 years in January. And so I've seen these patterns. I don't ever get freaked out about anything that people are saying, guys, any of the clickbait out there, any people that are saying, oh, the bottom's going to fall out of the real estate industry, AI is going to take over. Guys, I don't listen to that. I focus on the fundamentals. And I know the people that follow me, if you guys are tired of all the hype, work with me. Click that little button in the top left. It'll take you to a Google form. Just take a picture on your phone and it'll open up my form, my Google sheet, ask you about 10 questions, and then my team will reach out. But that's what we do, guys. People that are done with the nonsense and actually want a stable, boring, profitable business, that's what we do over here. So back to the regularly scheduled programming. So I like what I see here. But again, this is only telling part of the picture. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and just go into my list pulling tool and see what data I have. Now, all this data I could target. I would say that I would remove any zips that are probably over. Wait, I wouldn't even say that. I would say any zips that are probably over 500,000, 580. I'll cap it up 600,000. I'm going to remove. Now, guys, does that mean I'm not going to target these zips ever? I'm going to remove anything below 500,000. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that just because I eliminated these zips doesn't mean I'm not going to target them. I'm just going to say, I'm saying that you have the best opportunity to go and close deals with targeting these zips initially, because these sellers are going to be motivated here. So for instance, I'll give you an extreme example. What if I wanted to pull 5,000 records for my team to cold call? And I'm going to remove all these filters here, because this data could be a little bit overwhelming here about what we target first, who do we hit up, all that stuff. Okay, so if I'm looking at this, I might say, well, extreme example, I'm going to target this zip code and pull all the absentee records in 33629 in Hillsboro. And let's just say that gets you 3,000 records and you want 2,000 more records. This is a very prosperous, affluent zip code, $1 million properties, high density, which is good. And then let's just say I want to target this low density mid-tier zip code that only have 44 homes sold for 323. Guys, you're going to get some sellers, but these aren't going to be the best crop of sellers. And usually what I like doing whenever I go in these markets, I like testing the most wholesalable or investor friendly criteria first, because I know if I get some hot leads, out of the criteria that actually wholesalers, actually will generate some motivated sellers, then I know that I'll be in a good position as I start loosening up these filters. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm explaining that well, and I'll phrase it again. But I'm going to start with the criteria that and the zip codes where I think will produce the most motivated sellers first. And if I'm able to get a deal out of that, or even if I do marketing and my texts are going off, I'm getting a lot of cold calls. Sellers are, they're in my asking price range. They look motivated. Looks like I put a contract together within the first 1 or 2 weeks of targeting them, guys. Then I'm going to go ahead and move forward with staying in this market. Now, if I have a struggle, if I'm targeting some of these zip codes that are like 188,000, 225, 239, and I pull like a list of 5,000 sellers, and these homeowners are, they're being difficult, then I know the whole MSA is going to be affluent. And if I can't put anything together in the lowest median sale price zip codes in this market, what makes me think as I go up in median sale prices that these sellers are going to get more and more easier to work with? Yes, we target homeowners in these zip codes, but we want to make sure that the whole market, we target homeowners in median sale price zip codes like this, but we want to make sure that they're not thinking that their whole market is so affluent where they're so savvy where they don't think it makes sense to work with an investor. Or if we're calling them, they're like, why are you calling me? We're not generating any leads with them. Everybody's looking at us over the phone like there's something growing between our head, like we're a unicorn. It's like, wait, we don't want that. And we could get a vibe based off of the leads that are generated within the first 1 or 2 weeks. So this is a multifaceted approach, guys. A lot of what I do is experimenting as well. But, again, 9 years of data, been in this market since 2018 on and off. I know what Tampa's a good market. I know roughly what the sellers are like here. Until the median sale prices go up to maybe like 600,000, I think we're good, because we have a lot of median zip codes that are around 300 to 400. I mean, we have a ton in the $300,000 range. This is good. It's not too bad to see. All right, I'm going to check my comments here. Okay, cool. Tip said that makes sense. Great, guys. Glad you guys are rocking with me tonight. Let's go ahead and get into it. Great. Okay, sweet. So 418, 151, 24, 132. All right. Okay, so I'm going to put some filters here. You guys can't see these because I'm sharing my screen, not sharing my whole screen, but I'm going to remove any zip codes that have a home sold of fewer than 50 homes sold. And then I'm going to remove any zip codes that have a median sale price of 500,000. And that gives me about 98 zip codes. And the order I'm going to target these zip codes is based off of the median sale price. So I'm going to start with the lower median sale price and then go up. I'm not going to start with the highest median sale price, because these people are going to be less of our target avatar. They're going to be more savvy and more affluent. Now, we'll target them, but initially that's not the goal. And so here, if you guys are in Tampa, you may say, well, let me target Hillsborough. And honestly, that wouldn't be the best route to go initially. I would target Pinellas, Pasco, Pinellas, Hernando even, before I would target Hillsborough. So it looks like Pasco is one of the better, more, I guess, motivated seller areas because the median sale prices are lower. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to filter this and target Pasco. All right. Okay, cool. And let's go into my list pulling tool here. So I use this tool called Investors Title Toolbox. You guys may have heard of it. I love this tool. Been using it for years. The box, baby, the toolbox. And now what we're going to do is we're about to get funky with it, guys. Let's go ahead and get into it. So area search, recent queries. area search. I'm going to go to some of my saved searches. I would build this from scratch, but there's really no need to. And I have a lot of filters here, so I'm not going to do that. Cool. Okay, cool. So let's do Tampa, Florida. And then the county is we are going to be in Pasco. And guys, this is just only one of the tools that I use. So I have others that I use as well, where I stack my tax delinquent list with this data as well to pull some really nice lists. This is really going to determine how healthy this market is. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the purchase price of 100,000. I do not do equity filters, guys. If you've been following me for a while, I do not do equity filters. I do total outstanding loans and what the first loan amount was and the purchase price. Why do I do that? Because if somebody paid 100K for their house, they're going to be more motivated to sell than somebody who has 100% equity on a house that's worth 500,000. Again, I'll play with these filters over time. I'll expand the criteria, but if I can't get a deal with this criteria I'm showing you guys right here, then there's going to be no hope for me in that market, right? If I don't have a hot lead that I can't contract within 30 days, and I pulled a 10,000 or 5,000 to 10,000 record list, I put a full-time cold caller on it, our texture, there's not going to be any hope for me being able to close up a deal in this market. Sometimes I put an AMV like baseline here, meaning basically what the appraised value is. I don't want to target homes that are lower than 25K. In my worth lower than 25K, in some of my non-affluent markets, more of the distressed markets, like in Detroit, Memphis, I will put that filter there because we don't want homes that are basically lots. But I don't think we're going to have any issues with that. Pasco, 100K, year built. I have a lot square footage of a half acre or less. That's a good filter to have, guys, because we don't want to be targeting people that are in rural locations. And we don't want to target areas where it's difficult to comp, right? So if there's a property there where it's over a half an acre, it's going to be very difficult to comp that home out. So that's just something to keep in mind. All right, guys? Cool. So let's go ahead and get to it here. Occupy Pasco. Okay, so I'm just going to put some zips in here, and the whole goal is to put in as few zips as possible to generate as few zips as possible to get to, let's just say, 5,000 records, ideally 10,000. And this is an absentee filter that I'm working with here. Most of these homes, guys, probably have been bought up with this filter, so I may need to increase some of these price filters here. But let's just see what we get. Let's see what we get. Okay, that's not too bad. So 4,157 zips, properties with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zips. That's not bad. So there's some decent inventory there. So what I would do is I would put all these other zips here from my spreadsheet in Pasco that fit my criteria, meaning underneath 500,000 the median sale price, and they had over 50 homes sold, to see if I can get to 10,000 records. Because we really need 10,000 records, guys, at target with texting over the course of a month. Because if we do 500 texts a day, 500 texts a day, that will yield oh my gosh, I'm sorry, guys. Probably 5 leads a day, which is really good. And that data will last a month with texting. With cold calling, yeah, we might be able to stretch that out to maybe like 40, 45 days. Okay, so you guys saw as I went up in I'll show you guys this here, as I went up in how many zip codes, the median sale price zip codes. it's not going to yield the same results and as it's not going to yield the same amount of absentee properties as it did in these lower price zip codes. So that's why we had, with 7 or so zip, we got 4,000 sellers prospects. And then with these, 10 zips, we only got another 1,000. But no issue. That's enough to start with. And then you can pull that, guys, and then you can actually go and test the market out. And then over time, what you can do is once you test the market out, if you like what you see, you can expand the criteria. There's so many different things you can do with your criteria here. The main thing you want to look for is some sort of motivating criteria on your list. I'm not just going to put no year built, no purchase date, right? No purchase price. I mean, no absentee. What are you going to do? Just pull all the records, people that bought homes like yesterday, because this data is pretty updated in here. You want to have some sort of like motivating criteria, but you don't want to start too broad because then your homeowners aren't going to be motivated. And you may need to start broad if you're in a larger market, but we're talking about going to markets in the wintertime. And if you're going to deliberately choose a market, you have to choose one, guys, where it actually makes sense to be in. Okay. And, if you're going to put forth the effort, you might as well go all in, right? Okay. So we have 100,000. So what I might do is this too. I might keep this here. And since I have 5,000, guys, I know I'll get a ton more zips if let's just say I pulled these and that looks good. I'm like, okay, I like the zips I was in. I could just do the same criteria and just do owner occupied. And to be honest, guys, when it comes down to it, I found that a lot of homes that are owner occupied in some of these markets aren't really owner occupied. What's going on here, and we have another 13,000 records, and that's pretty good. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, we'll have about 16,000 records once we remove duplicates. But what I'm saying here, finish my point, I'm sorry, is that a lot of these homeowners in these homes in these owner-occupied homes right here with this criteria, some of these I've noticed about 20%, 10 to 20%, they're actually absentee. So what the system is utilizing, it doesn't matter if you're using ListSource, PropStream, whatever, it's only going after what the individual, the owner, is stating. And so if the individual said, hey, I'm, they never went to update their mailing address, and their mailing address is still the same as their property address, but they moved out of that home years ago and they have a tenant in it, well, it's not going to come up on the absentee records. And so some of you guys, including me, right? And this is something that I had to realize too, are just targeting non-owner occupants. Well, what about the people that moved out of their house last year and may still have mail going to that property address, right? They haven't updated their new address and it's not officially absentee. So, you're really going to find sellers in that situation. You're going to find another 10% that are transitioning to like a nursing home or transitioning to to maybe like a out of the state. You're going to find a lot of people, especially with this criteria here, that are in those types of situations. I love targeting a targeted owner occupant list. What I usually do as well is I'll take this list, I'll pull it, and then I'll go in my other database I have with my tax delinquents, and then I'll combine those lists together, and then whatever homes show up on the tax delinquent list, I'll target. And let's just say I'm targeting homes where they were tax delinquent for going back to 2022. Guys, that's an amazing list to target. And if you can't get a deal out of that in the first month, I would just say that that's going to indicate that, or you don't have any motivated sellers, rather. Nobody seems like they want to play ball with you. Then, that's an issue right there. That's an issue with your marketing or with your closing or with the market. But again, if you are following the criteria that I stated, then with the, having over 1 million population, over 100 zip codes, and then you put this criteria in here, you're not going to have any issues with once you market, not getting any motivated sellers. It's like a checklist I have. And, I know guaranteed if I go into this market with this criteria, I'm going to get some motivated sellers. Now, will they be as plentiful as if I went to a market where the median sale prices were 100K less, like 300,000? They might be as plentiful. I might generate the same lead flow, 1 to 2 cold calling leads a day per dialer, per cold caller, and then another 5 to 12 a day with texting, but the motivation may be a little bit lower. So in this market, I may be looking at a 1 to 40 or 50 lead to text ratio, or in another market where the median sale prices are lower, I may be looking at a 1 to 20 or 30 lead to closure ratio with texting. In this market, in an affluent market where the median sale prices are higher, I'll give you an example here, guys. Let me go back to my data set. Where the median sale price is higher, with cold calling, I may be looking at 1 out of 100 leads to close with cold calling. And then 1 out of 50, maybe 75 texting leads to a contract. Now, again, this depends heavily on your acquisition shops. I have a client right now that's in Savannah. And again, this isn't what I'm saying here, guys, and what I teach you guys online is different, slightly different than what I implement with my clients, like behind closed doors, if you want to say that, because there are nuances to this, but I don't want to not overwhelm you, because I respect you guys' intelligence, but give you too much to chew on where it leads to analysis paralysis. Because I talked to a new client today and he said he was having that issue, which is why he came to me. So, with you guys, whenever you're watching my lives, I want to make sure I'm giving you like the 80-20 of it, the overarching view of what's happening here. Okay. So without too many nuances, but there are exceptions to the rules. This is his market. He has 20 zip codes, and we targeted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6 zips. And it took me a while. It took me about a week to get to 10,000 records. It was a stretch without sacrificing on the quality of data. Okay. Without just targeting all the home owners that bought homes, now until, since 1900, right? In 2024 to 1900, right? I didn't do that. So it took me a while to finesse the list to make sure the list had some motivation without being too narrow down and niche where he only had 100 records to target. So with him, though, he is great at dispositions. And so he's great at dispo. He has a great acquisitions manager working with him. And then he, if he needs to, he'll lock up the deals on the phone as well with the sellers. And he's great on the phone. He's great at communications. On his Clifton Strengths Finders, you guys heard me talk about that before. Connectedness is number one, which is a relationship building theme. So he's excellent on the phone, making things come across like a win-win situation. Super optimistic person, really all around great person to be in this industry. But with that being said, he's a relationship builder, guys. And so he has a ton of quality buyers that are always looking for deals. And so we went and evaluated what his buyers want. And then we ended up reverse engineering the list to go find those properties for him. So within the first month, we've gotten like 3 contracts with him. That's just with texting. We haven't even implemented the 2 cold callers yet, which is pretty astounding. So he's in Savannah. And so that's performing well. But again, he's also doing some other marketing, right? Some pay-per-lead stuff, bandit signs. Again, he has a lot of buyers. So these are just things we got to keep in mind. Okay, guys, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach, but I would say if you do implement what I'm telling you here, it will take you a long way and you'll be able to get there and you won't make any mistakes, right? You can start getting fancy with it once you learn the foundation. That's why I like saying. Let me see if we have any questions here, guys. All right, guys. So I'm going to keep this sort of brief here. We could go on a little bit longer, probably in the next live here. I didn't want to go live just in case I wasn't able to. If anybody is in Miami, whether you're watching this now or the replay, let me know. I'm going to be down there for a week. It's September 18th. So I'm going to be down there the Saturday, 21st. I booked a one-way flight, so honestly, I might just stay down there indefinitely. I don't really like being anywhere where it's cool, or I don't like the fall or winter, which is why we're having this call. So hope you guys have a great night. And if you want to work with me, go ahead and swipe that QR code up there, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.